Good afternoon, everyone, or evening, I guess it is now. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Amanda Forrester, and I'm the director for the Roanoke Regional Small Business Development Center, who's hosting the presentation tonight. We're going to be talking about future generations, minority entrepreneurs leaving a legacy. And this is part of our quarterly minority business series that we're doing all year long. And we have some incredible panelists here with us tonight and speakers who are going to be sharing some incredibly inspirational stories. For housekeeping, if you will just keep your mic muted for us throughout the presentation, but as you have questions, feel free to unmute and ask, or pop them over in the chat and we'll make sure that we get answers for those questions. Or if you just want to participate in conversation, that's really what tonight is about. And so to kick us off, I would like to introduce our two hosts for the evening. And it's with great pleasure to introduce you to Pascal, who's our Hispanic business lead and community engagement advisor. Recently joining the SVDC, you all may know her for many other roles that she plays in the community. And Kat, we're so excited to have you here tonight to host this with us. And want to welcome Macklyn Mosley, who is our minority business lead and community engagement person for our minority-owned businesses. And Macklyn, we're so grateful that you're here tonight to lead the conversation. And I'm going to turn it over to you all.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. And thank you so much for being here with us today as we host this year's Minority Enterprise Week panel interviews and discussions with local faces that you might recognize. We've got a great panel. We'll start to share their profiles with you, 5 great speakers as you see there. And what Macklyn and I will do is we'll bounce questions off to each one of these individuals, but please, we encourage you that if you have questions for them as we talk about this awesome topic of leaving a legacy, pop them into the chat, because this is what it's about. It's engaging with our community and engaging with these business owners that give so much of themselves to our community. So without further ado, I will start to share a little bit about the speakers that we have, starting off with Jonathan Kelly. And if you just want to wave, Jonathan, at the our guest and our attendees that we have here tonight so that they can see your face. But Jonathan Kelly is a native Roanoker. He is obsessed with the world and cultures of near and far. He likes to share that when he dropped out of college, he came back to Roanoke and launched a company called Roanoke Connect. That was a database website that allowed locals to create profiles and post parties. Then he went to do it and pivot and create his own company so that they could post their parties. He even partnered with big brands like Young and Reckless and Red Bull to create college parties of different universities. He created the first software-based delivery service in Virginia called Fetch. And at their peak, they had over 50 drivers. Because it was a software company, he could live anywhere, and he decided to travel the world. And if you know him on social media, you see a lot of that worldly inspiration in many of the things that he does. He owns restaurants, and he's also involved with Salty's Lobster and Company, Lenore Picnic Company, and Wicked Lemon. You'll have to correct me if I said that wrong, Jonathan. He has 3 food trucks, 3 lemonade stands, and he uses those presses to make fresh lemonade. So as you see, he is an entrepreneur and has many things going on. Macklyn, would you like to say hi and introduce our next speaker?
Yes, thank you so much, Kat. Again, hello, everyone. My name is Macklyn, and as Amanda so kindly introduced both Don and Kat, again, I'm the minority business lead, and I am going to introduce our next panelist, who is Araceli Ruiz. Following in the footsteps of her mother, Araceli Ruiz is a Latina entrepreneur. Although employed at a small credit union as a financial counselor, Araceli's passion is to work with her hands and has owned several small businesses along the way, including Artesanias Araceli, woodworking, and Bold Brows permanent makeup. All right, Kat.
Awesome. And we've also got Connie Mills with us today. She's a serial entrepreneur. She owns Nappy Heads Hair Productions, Social Selfie Studio, and she's a professional DJ that goes by the name of DJ C. Millie. She's got 3 kids, 1 grandkid, and a puppy named Frank.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat. And our next panelist is Antonio Morris. Antonio is the founder and owner of Feel Good Nation. Antonio was born right here in Roanoke, Virginia, where he has resided his entire life. He enjoys spending time with his wife, his two beautiful daughters, and his stubborn English bulldog son. That bulldog is incredibly cute, by the way. He is extremely passionate in helping others look, feel, and become better versions of themselves while inspiring others to do the same. And if you visit Antonio's social media page, you'll see just some of the lives that he's impacted and what it really means to feel good through his business, Feel Good Nation.
Awesome. We've also got Denise Beltran. She's the owner of Spotless Cleaning here in Roanoke, Virginia. Her mother and her started that business on their own. It was started with the two of them cleaning, and they've expanded their company to 4 team members. So they've grown drastically in just these last 4 months. Her desire is to open the door for Latino women to show that there's no limit about how far you can go. She also works full-time. So she is a cigarette advocate at Roanoke Catholic School. She helps the Latino community get into private school or have the opportunity to join the private school and have one of the best educations possible. When she's not cleaning or working, she's spending her time with her 4 sons. They range from age of 4 months to 11 months. So they keep her on her toes and busy mama there. So welcome Denise, Antonio, Connie, Araceli, and Jonathan to this week's panel interview. And if each one of you just want to wave to say hi to our attendees, we're really excited to have you all here today. And so this is a series that has been happening quarterly with the Small Business Development Center. And this is a role that Macklyn and I have taken in just the last few months and been able to get to know a lot of our minority leaders in our community. So these are just some of the faces that we would love for everybody to get to know and to learn more about. I want to share a little bit about the census. According to the United States Department of Census, minority businesses will be or are the fastest growing segment of the population. Entrepreneurship is a way for wealth creation and for thriving the national economy. So to each of you, I applaud you for being business owners and being here with us today. So I just want to say thank you for that. And we've got a few questions that we wanted to ask our panelists about leaving a legacy, because that's the ultimate conversation and topic today. Did you want to start with those questions, Macklyn?
Yeah, that's no problem. I would love to. Okay, so the first question we have for everyone, and we'll start it, even though it's for everyone, we'll go ahead and start with, let's see, I'll ask Araceli first to start it. But what does leaving a legacy mean to you?
Hi, everyone. To me, leaving a legacy means that I have left a foundation for people like me, like a minority Latina, who have hopes and dreams of owning a business and can use the path that I've created to accomplish the American dream, no matter how small or big that dream may be. So just letting everyone know to just go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Araceli. Let's see. Connie, would you mind answering next?
Let me get off mute. Hey, everybody. I was thinking about this today once I looked over the questions, and I really want to be able to leave an impact as far as the legacy is concerned, like an impact on my children, you know, their friends, my customers that come into my businesses, that this is something that they can do, just like Araceli said, that, you know, they can take the same path that I took, and they have the potential to be independent, to be living in their passion, doing something that they want to do instead of something that they have to do. I always tell my customers that if they have a passion for something, that people will pay for it. If somebody has said that they like what you do, somebody will pay for that. And that is your business. That is what you have to develop and that is your business. So my legacy would be to leave that information behind. My legacy would be to just be encouraging to those that are looking for that out or looking for that way.
Thank you, Connie. That's awesome. Thank you.
You're
Jonathan.
welcome.
Sorry, I'm in Starbucks. My power went out at the house. But, you know, by definition, I think legacy is leaving behind like assets such as money or property. But for me, leaving a legacy is more so, I was thinking this in terms of my son, what I want him to what I want to leave to him. And I think for me, it's more of a mindset. I want to show other people, like, whatever you want, you can have it, anything. It's just what you focus on. So I think leaving or showing people that a positive mindset and really, what is it called? A mindset that doesn't give up. You know, you can do whatever you want with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan. And Denise.
My legacy is to open more doors for the Latino woman and to show them that there's no limit as far as you go, that you can all be a mom and have 4 kids or 5 kids and have 2 jobs. And at the same time, you can handle a business and you can help other women succeed. I have helped a lot of women who have said, like, how do you do it? And I'm like, well, I do get tired, but when you want something in life, you have to work hard. And I want to make sure that my kids see that it's simple when they get older and they go to college, that there's no, that they're going to be able to accomplish whatever they want.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Denise. And Antonio.
Hey guys, so legacy is absolutely important. You know, to me, it's about what you can pass down to, you know, the next generation. You know, and I look back at my mom and dad as far as, you know, business. You know, my mom and dad, they never owned business. They didn't have anything, you know, they didn't have the knowledge, and it's to pass down to me. So for me and my children, I feel it's my job to pass down, you know, my skills is, you know, being an entrepreneur and the things that I've learned as far as business, so that they can pass down to their children and the next generation. You know, I think it's all about building upon, you know, the foundation that you set.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Antonio, for that. Thank you, everyone. Some things that what you said, I just kind of wrote down. Each of you said, Araceli, you mentioned leaving a foundation for those like hopes and dreams for opening a business and accomplishing an American dream. Similar, Connie mentioned leaving an impact on her children, knowing that, letting them know that this is something they can do. If they have a passion for something, people will pay for it. I mean, that is a reality. It's very true. Jonathan, just leaving behind a mindset. Whatever you want, you can have it. And it really is a mindset thing. It's very, very important. And Denise, that there's no limit for the Latina woman, and letting them know that you can also succeed, even with 4 kids, you know, and the day-to-day. And then Antonio, just like what you can pass on to the next generation, that regardless of maybe what you weren't able to receive from the generation before you, you can still give something to the generation after you. So those are all wonderful. Thank you so much. Kat?
Awesome. So the next question, and thank you all so much for sharing that, because I think that leaving a legacy is it can be defined for us so differently depending on our circumstances, depending on where we're at in life, depending on what we are wanting for our children or for you know, anybody around us. Leaving a legacy is defined so differently for each one of us. So thank you all for sharing. So I picked on 2 people in particular for the very next question, and it's for those with children. And in particular, I picked Antonio and Connie for this question. So I'll give you a second to kind of simmer in on this question. And it was, tell us how your mindset has evolved at the different stages of your children's growth. Connie, you have 3 children and a grandchild. Was it different from the moment that they were babies to toddlers to adults, or even now having grandchildren? Like, how has that mindset, do you think, changed throughout those different stages of their lives?
So I want to be kind of transparent with this question, because when you open up a business, you have to give so much to the business, and you sacrifice so much going into the business, because honestly, your eyes on the prize, your eyes on trying to stay afloat, being a new business is such a risk that you take. So when I first started, I was in junior high, high school when I first started my hair business. And I was in my mother's basement. And every weekend would come, and I had my son my senior year in school. Every weekend would come, and I'm in my basement at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, all the way till 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And so I had missed the whole day. And then having my girls, I was already in my salon, and I was working 7 days a week sometimes. And it would just be with the help of the village, my parents, my sister, their dad, like just helping me keep it afloat. And at times I felt like I was just the financial person involved in their life. They tell me I was so much more, but I just felt like I missed so much. So I can skip all the way to this when COVID hit, 2000, what was that, 20? I've always just worked multiple jobs. And on top of these three that we're talking about, I work a full-time job at Wells Fargo. And I felt like me and my daughters, we have a wonderful relationship. They're at home, they're thriving. But once I was seated, once I was stopped in my tracks, couldn't go to my business was shut down. I couldn't go to Wells Fargo. I was at home. It really made me realize what I had missed with my children. And it made me turn the tables on how I handle my business. I limit my business, and my customers have to come on the days that I've set aside to open. I enjoy my time working from home with Wells Fargo because I get to be with my children, way more and influence them more. So when I decided to open up social, I decided to make it more of a family venture. They are the manager and co-manager of Social Selfie Studio. And when I'm open, they're over here. Even though they're 20 and 17 now, this kind of it kind of emphasizes everything that I've been trying to do for them. This is what I do. This is how you run a business. This is why I'm out of the house so long. And this is what you'll have to do for whatever you decide to do going forward. So that's been my evolution. It's kind of been like the last 2 years have really been almost like bittersweet, taking a loss of income at my salon because I've shortened my hours and been more selective with my clientele. But it has helped my family way more than I can ever put into a measurement. So, even though people say, oh, you work so much, honestly, social is not a job for me. I come here and my kids are here and, our friends come through, their friends come in. It's really not a job for me.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that and the realities of the sacrifices that need to take place sometimes when we are building our businesses. And kudos to you. And thank you so much for sharing. Antonio, I've got the same question for you, and I'll go ahead and just repeat it. It is, tell us how your mindset has evolved through the different stages of your children's lives or the child's lives and their growth. If I'm not mistaken, you've got daughters, is that right?
Yeah,
all right.
2 daughters.
2 daughters, yeah. So can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, I worked for Roanoke City Fire Department back, I would say around 2013. And with that, I love the job, but doing that, it was always having a boss. You had to be there 24-hour shifts. So with that, it was I had to miss birthdays. I had to miss events for my daughters. I had to miss certain things. And I think around that time I had my youngest on the way, Avery. And, I knew at that time I wanted to be a business owner. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I love. And I knew my work ethic. So, I sort of took a leap of faith and, I hit the ground running. And I opened up, finally worked in the salon, that exclusive salon. That was my first job as a barber. And doing that, I still had to make a lot of sacrifices, just like Connie was saying. I had to take a lot of time out because, as an entrepreneur, you have to build your clientele, and it is what it is. It doesn't come to you. You have to go out, you have to go get it. So I had to miss, a little bit of time with the girls, but at the same time, I still had that freedom to make those events that I did not want to miss. And, from there, I opened my shop and started growing more and more with that. And I think as my kids got older, the more they realized what I was doing, and it sort of made me, it did make me a lot hungrier, because now, my girls back then younger, they knew, okay, my dad cuts hair. Okay, he's a personal trainer. They really couldn't fully understand what was going on, but they knew that I was making a living off of what I love to do. And so here we are now, they're 8 and 5, and it's very emotional, because now I hear my daughter, my 8-year-old, which is cool, because I see that what I've been doing as an entrepreneur, it's hit her, because now she's like, Dad, you need to sign up. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? She said, how people going to come to your shop if you ain't got to sign up? How they going to know you there? So I'm like, man, this is crazy. She's getting more of that entrepreneur mindset, and it makes me hungrier as an entrepreneur, because like, okay, well, she's getting a little competitive with my business. Or, even my 5-year-old, now she's realizing, what I've been doing for 5 years, which is a blessing. And, I've been sustaining my entire life and everything off of what I love to do. And as a 5-year-old, I even asked her, a while back, I said, do you know what FGN stands for? She said, yeah, Dad. She said, Feel Good Nation. She said, I talk to my friends all the time about that in school. And I was like, that's crazy. So it's like, your kids watch you, they absorb everything that you do. So me working, me cutting hair, my girls, they want to become entrepreneurs. They want to find ways to make money themselves. They encourage me. And, as they grow, they inspire me. They make me want to work harder. I'm in a process now. We're trying to open a gym, and they're like, Dad, you need to get this sort of machine in here. How are you going to, what's going to be better in your gym than it's going to be at the next gym, And so it's awesome to see them grow mentally, as far as what I've put out as being an entrepreneur. And they want to be a part of it. So like now, they have stuff in my shop now. They have like a little lemonade stand in my shop, and they're down there working. They're making their own money. And I told them I'd give them a little fee every month. I said, okay, well, you guys pay me about $2 to $5 a month, just so you can get the mindset of business. This is how we're gonna work. And they're like, oh yeah, Dad, we can do that. And so they're down there, it's cool just to see them evolve. And they, like I said, they push me to want to do more and grow my business more.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. What great stories and feel good stories that you've got there. And there's some statistics and data that actually shows that some of the most successful entrepreneurs are exposed to entrepreneurial mindset from a very young age. And so how old are your girls again?
They are 8 and 5.
8 and 5. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you again for sharing, Connie and Antonio. What great questions you'll have. Feel free to put in the chat if there's anything that resonated with you. And that's for our attendees, just FYI. So I'll pass it back over to Macklyn for our next question.
Thank you, Kat. I loved hearing those stories. I just thought it was amazing just to hear both like Connie and Antonio, just how being an entrepreneur has impacted your family, and then at the same time, how your family has impacted you. I feel like there was a reciprocation there, like an accidental reciprocation, right? Like you're doing what you're doing. The children say, man, now we want to be a part. And you go, man, this inspires me. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And your children say, man, how can I be a part? I think that's so amazing. So the next question we have, and this is going to be for Denise and Jonathan. And this question is, how do you incorporate your mindset, your goal into your everyday life and business? And we'll go ahead and start with Jonathan on this one.
Sorry, am I on mute? No. So how do I incorporate my mindset and my goals with my everyday business? Well, on my LinkedIn, I have where it says my work revolves around my life, not the other way around. So for me, it's anything that grows my portfolio, really, I like. When it comes to business, it's like everything that I see in my life, I want to capitalize on. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't try to do it, but like I see something and I like it. I'm like, how can I make money off this? Right. And so that's one of the ways I incorporate it.
Awesome. Honestly, I feel like sometimes some of the best lessons, some of the best opportunities, of course, come through everyday living. Sometimes we're just literally driving somewhere, we're at an event or something, and we go, wow, I like this. I can possibly use this for my benefit, to help, and sometimes that's where passion comes from. So I think that's really, really awesome, Jonathan. Thank you. Denise, same question. I'll go ahead and repeat it. How do you incorporate your mindset goal into your everyday life business?
I incorporated, like when I go and clean houses, I always talk to my clients about, if you don't like something, please let me know. Or if you think, I need to do something better, I'm really very open when it comes about communication. And then, they will say like, well, can you clean here better? Or can you do this? Or can you do that? And I think just opening by the communication with your clients is better when they leave like a good review. And now only that, but then when they refer you to other people and, when they message you and they say like, hey, somebody referred me, they say that you're really good at it. Can you come and clean my house? You start making your goals and start noticing that you're just doing a good job. And the way that, maybe you need to change some things, and by asking questions and being just open to people and just take the criticize, that helps you, achieve your goals.
Yes, absolutely. I believe it. Sometimes we share with our clients here, just like about reviews and things like that, and just how important those things are. And it's even cooler when you can have that open in-person communication with your clients. And honestly, there's many times where I feel like that's a reflection of you, how like you would want to communicate with people and do those things. So Denise, that's so awesome that you communicate with your clients that way, that you get those referrals, that you get those reviews, and that does build that credibility. So I think that's really, really awesome. Thank you so much, Denise. I'll go ahead and pass the next question to Kat.
I kind of want to hear a little bit about growth mindset. So I'm going to ask this question for Denise and Jonathan, because what you both just described is having a growth mindset and incorporating that into your everyday life, is having that. What does a growth mindset mean to you all? And I guess what can we take away from that? Is that important in leaving a legacy, I guess, or your families as well? I just want to do a follow-up with Jonathan and Denise on that one.
Well, when it comes to a growth mindset, I think being open to criticism, like Denise said, is paramount to your success, not just in business, but in life. So, wait, what was the question again?
Yeah, how do you incorporate that into maybe your kids or your legacy? And so how do you, I guess, filter that to your kids as well, that growth mindset that you do have?
Oh, knowing that there's always room for improvement, but being happy with what you're doing. Like you might not be where you want to be, but as long as you see, what's it called? No, I don't want to use the word growth because you said that, but as long as you're growing, it doesn't matter how fast or how slow you're going, as long as you can see that you're a better person than yesterday.
Awesome. And Denise, how do you share that with your 4 sons? How do you share that mentality that you have of that growth mindset?
Well, I do want to say that when my parents came here, they didn't know any English. We came here with nothing. We were living under like a basement and we were sleeping on the floors. We didn't have nothing. And my parents started from the bottom. They left all their family to come here and give us a better life. And for me, that was like a big opportunity. That's like a big example of me following their path and know it's now where we are. Now my dad has a construction business, but he started from the bottom with nothing. And that helped me grow. So I want to show that to my kids, and I want to show them that it doesn't matter where you move or where you are, as long as you work hard, you're going to make mistakes, because everyone is going to make mistakes, but you have to learn from those mistakes and you have to grow every day from where you want to accomplish your goals.
Thanks for both answering that question. It's super interesting to hear about the growth mindset and how we continue to incorporate that into the kids or to our families. The next question that we have here is, how will you know that you've achieved your goal of leaving a legacy? And that question is directed to Araceli, Antonio, and Jonathan. So I'll start with Araceli. How will you know that you've achieved your goal of leaving a legacy?
This is a really hard question to answer because you are basically judging what you've created, what you've done, your mistakes and all of that, and just basically looking back at it and seeing, did I do a good job or not? And you won't know really until maybe after you're gone. I don't know. But I feel like a little bit of that legacy has been left, maybe not to its full potential. Maybe one day it is to its full potential. But seeing my kids really cheer me on, or they want to be part of the process, or even, you know, just saying little comments, oh, I want to open up this business, or I want to do this, or I want to help mom, or I want to help, you know, whatever. I feel like even if they can get a little bit of that, that is already a huge accomplishment. So I feel like just pushing forward and not giving up already in itself is already leaving a huge impact. So it's a great question. Difficult to answer, but great question.
Thanks, Araceli. And Antonio, I'll ask you the same. How will you know you've achieved the goal of leaving a legacy?
It is a tough question. You know, I think it's when you can inspire someone to sort of step outside the box and really go above and beyond of what they're used to and doing something different. You know, if me starting a business, you know, of course I would love my kids to do that, but even if me starting a business, know a guy who never had a mindset of starting a business, you know, if I inspired him to open you know, to start his own business, I feel like that is an accomplishment, a huge accomplishment. You know, if I feel like, you know, me as a barber, you know, I've cut hair, I became successful at being a barber, and I took a leap of faith from a stable job, and someone said, you know what, I think I'm gonna do the same thing. I'll take a leap of faith and do something that I love to do. I think that's already a part of, you know, leaving a legacy. And of course, you know, with the children, as my children already are in that entrepreneurial mindset, you know, I would love to see them, you know, take over the business or even start their own. And I think that's huge. So I think it's really taking what you have built and really inspiring others, you know, whether it be your family, friends, or people that just watch you from around the world and say, hey, you know, I'm gonna do a little something different because I saw you do this. I saw you come from nothing. I saw, you know, you didn't have that funding or, you know, come from that type of background to, you know, to hand you things, and you did it. So I want to try, you know. So I think I think that goes for, you know, a lot for leaving a legacy.
Awesome. I love that. Is anybody else tearing up a little bit? Because these are awesome answers, and talking about this is just a great topic, I think. So Jonathan, same question. How will you know that you've achieved the goal of leaving a legacy?
Well, for me, I don't know how to say it, but like before my son was born, you know, when I was always dreamed of having children. What was that? Oh, did y'all hear that?
You did. It might have been a notification on something. Sorry about that.
Dreamed of having children, and I was like, you know, I want them to go to the best schools. I want them to have good jobs, make a lot of money. But actually, when my son was born, all that went out the window. I just wanted him to be happy. And for me, I take a lot of pride in living my life the way, you know, authentically. Even if people don't like it, I like it. And so I think by saying leaving a legacy, I want my son to live the same way, a fulfilling life where, you know, not only do you do what you like, but you also give back and make a difference in your community. So if I can see my son, you know, hopefully I'm around during that time, but if, you know, see him follow in his footsteps of giving back to his community, living, you know, traveling, doing things that make him come alive, I think I'll be pretty happy.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Jonathan, as well. And I think that was a notification on one of our computers. Sorry about that. All right. Well, I'm going to pass it back over to Macklyn because he's got some questions as well.
Yes, thank you. And yes, I am over here emotional. I can't lie. And I'm not a crier, but today I am holding it back. I promise you. You will not see it on this Zoom call though. Anyway. All right, so our next question is, can you provide, and this question is for Denise and Connie. Can you provide an example of how your small business has positively impacted your family? Let's start with Connie.
Okay, I couldn't unmute it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's see. How has it positively impacted my family? I mean, it's always a positive impact, working in a community, and then, if they go out somewhere, people say, "Oh, I know your mom," that kind of stuff. I think that's positive. But opening this last business, let me backtrack. So when I was growing up, my granddaddy owned a cafe and he owned a cab service. But like being an entrepreneur skipped over my mom and my dad. They're very conservative. They don't want to take chances. It's ridiculous. She's a banker. He has engineering background. And then when I say, oh, I'm not going back to work at that salon today. I'm going to open up my own shop. I can't do this no more. My daddy was like, "Oh, I got your back." My mama was like, "Can you do this? Can you, is this something you're going to be able to afford?" Her family was from the country, and they were like, how are you going to pay for an apartment and you just doing hair? And I was making big money every week. So, it just wasn't a question. So once they saw like how much clientele, visiting my salon and seeing how much clientele I had, or seeing pictures of my work, they were like telling everybody about me, telling everybody about my business. And they were really happy. That was a very big change from my mom's side of the family, the way they addressed me, because, I had a baby early, that kind of stuff. So this was like a huge turnaround. But when I opened up this studio, my family came in here like they were ready at the door to shoot those money guns and to take a picture. And my mom and dad were posing like they were dating, they were back dating. And I really think that was like, this has been like a very different experience. It's really been so family oriented and not just about me, when it comes to being a business owner. And they even been calling me about any kind of advertisement they see. "Oh, somebody said they saw you putting up videos on Facebook. Oh, I saw you sign up at Berglund," and they've been so involved with this and so happy for, this part of my career, for this business. So I think it's been a very positive impact because everybody is so involved in it, not just my girls. My mom and dad are like so like supportive, so supportive for something that's such a stretch, with it being so like the first here in Roanoke, the first close by, a concept that a lot of people don't understand, that we're a selfie studio. You come and take your own pictures. I'm not a photographer. You come in here to make your content for, social media to help your business, and they're still like, "You don't have a photographer?" No, but, we'll help. But it's just been my mom and dad, the support. I think that's been the biggest family impact, and my uncles and my aunts, with them being up in age, seeing them in that money room is just the funniest thing to me. So I think it's been the best thing, really.
That is so awesome, Connie. That is so awesome. It just made me think about the fact that sometimes actions just speak louder, right? Where sometimes people may say one thing or may think one thing, and then when they see the results, they're like, "Wow, that's incredible."
Right. And I did all the construction in here without my mom and dad really knowing. I got the building. I am 48, and I still was like sneaking around trying to do everything without my mom and dad knowing. I wanted them, because it's so hard to explain what kind of business it is to someone who's not on social media, and they're not on social media. She just gets secondhand information from Facebook. So, I'm trying to, let me go ahead and get this construction done. And then once they can actually see the concept that I have, I'll bring them on in. And I stuck to the plan. And then they was like, "Oh, okay. okay, I think I got it, but they're all for it now, but yeah.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Connie. Okay, Denise, again, sorry about that. I muted myself. I'll repeat the question again. Can you provide an example of how your small business has positively impacted your family?
It has impacted in a good way. My kids now, like when I started cleaning, they were just like, why do you go? Are we really poor, Mom? Because they don't understand. I mean, the oldest one is like 11 and I have a 4-month baby, but my toddler was like, Mommy, are we poor? Is that why you have to have a second job? And I'm like, no, but now they admire me for, cleaning houses. They even go with me sometimes. I want them to see, how Mommy works and every day and how she talks to people. So sometimes they come with me, and now they have gone to the point where they're like, well, let me take a video of you and let me record you cleaning. And then they will show me the video and they will be like, is this okay, Mommy? So they start noticing things. Okay, that this is how she works, and this video has to go on her social media, so that way people can see her working and she can get more customers. So it has impacted in a good way of them. Sometimes they will grab the broom and they will start sweeping or mopping, and they see me as a big inspiration, and I want them to learn that, cleaning, it's nothing bad. I mean, you don't have to be in an office just sitting down or having a career. You can do whatever job makes you happy. And little things like that I see on my family, that they support me, especially my kids, that gives me like, just to work harder for them.
Yep, I love every bit of hearing that. Like, I think that is amazing. I think it's so cool that they're like filming you and saying, okay, we can use this for social media. I think that's like the cool way, like a cool way of supporting. I just think that's awesome. Thank you so much, Denise. Okay, Kat, we have the last question.
Yes, and so this question goes out to everyone, and thank you all so much for sharing. Love to hear Connie's story, and Denise as well, about how it's positively impacted your community or your family. The last question is, can you leave us with a word of advice or quote or word of encouragement, something that will inspire us throughout this brief conversation that we've had just now? I'm going to ask this to everybody, but first I'll start with Antonio. Can you give us a word of advice, quote, or a word of encouragement that you want us to leave with?
Yeah, so, as I've been saying before, even running my own business, is dream big. Dream big and work hard for it. I think everything is possible. Once you got your mindset to something, go full speed ahead. Don't let nothing stand in your way. Don't let nothing stop you. When I think about entrepreneurship or running a business, and you look at all the greats in the world who own, all these businesses, you got to think to yourself, these guys aren't superhuman. It's nobody's superhuman. It isn't, they don't have any kind of superpowers. It's a lot about work ethic, and they dream and they dare to go and chase everything they want, and anything you want and you work for it, you'll get it.
Love that. Jonathan, do you have a word of advice or encouragement that you'd like to share with us all?
Yeah, I actually got like 3 things. So
Okay.
One, that idea that you're wanting to do, whoever's watching this or they've been thinking about doing, do it. 2, you got to become obsessed with it. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they fail. Oh, well, so we'll say that. You got to be obsessed with it, because if you're not obsessed with it, not obsessed with, doing the best in your craft. So if you're gonna cut hair, be the best person cutting hair. If you're gonna sell lobster roll, make sure that lobster roll is the prettiest, tastiest looking lobster roll ever. And the third thing, know you're gonna fail. I think that's a big thing with a lot of entrepreneurs. I think I could speak for a lot of these people, is that we've all failed. And if you don't realize that it's gonna happen, it's a lot more painful when you think that you were going to get through without any bruises. there's a lot of hard times in entrepreneurship, a lot of times where the money's not coming in, a lot of times where you're up at 3 in the morning and everybody else is asleep, or your friends are out at a party and you have to get it done. So, just get used to being alone, get used to failing, but just know it's worth it. Living the life that, I think one other cool thing is living a life that a part of the legacy is being able to say that you did it your way, that you didn't just follow protocol and you got to, build what you wanted to build. I don't know, that was like 5 things, but.
I think those are awesome. So thank you so much for sharing with us. Araceli, how about you?
I'm going to end mine with a quote that I've always used, and I've always tell everyone that comes to me and like, hey, I have this idea and what do you think, and things like that. And this quote is actually from Lemony Snicket. He's a novelist, children's novelist. And it says, if we wait until we're ready, we'll be waiting for the rest of our lives. So basically just saying, go for it. If you have an idea, Jonathan said, don't expect not to have bruises. That's part of the process. Those are your battle wounds. That's showing that you went and you fought hard, and you have something to show for it. So don't wait any longer. Go do it. There's opportunity everywhere. And if you fail, at least you learned along the way, and you can apply that to something else.
I love that. You'll have to copy and paste that quote for us in the chat so that we can leave with that too.
Okay.
Denise, how about you?
My advice is never stop dreaming for what you want. You have to work hard no matter what. But there's going to be challenges, and there's going to be people who are going to tell you, like, just give up. You're going to have good days and bad days. Everyone goes through that. But you are a big example for other people. And just work hard for really what you want, and also help and support other people, and always stay humble.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Connie, last but not least.
Okay, so for those that are wanting to open a business, I just want you to go for it, of course, and be patient, because there are going to be roadblocks to come out. But of course, if God has put it on you, he's going to see through it. So I have a quote up on my wall, and that's what it had to remind me of. I had to put it up twice while doing this project, and I left it on my wall just as a reminder. And for those that are in business, I just want to read, we didn't touch on actual business, but for those that are in business, I just want to run this point home. Your price is your price. Don't let people tell you what your price should be, what kind of price you should have on your talent. Your price is your price. That's all.
Awesome business advice that we can all take home with us. I want to share that I have been so inspired by each one of you. I feel like I've known a little bit about you all, but now I know a lot more. So thank you so much for sharing about leaving a legacy, about your business advice, about your businesses and your personal lives, because you all just shared a little bit with us that we can take home. And I hope that each one of you all will continue to support these individuals as they continue to grow their businesses and be the leaders that they are in our community. So I'm going to open up the floor or our Zoom call and chat for any questions, any comments, any stories, anything that you all would love to share as attendees. I know that the chat has been pretty active, so I would love to hear from anybody that has some type of feedback, even for a panelist. And I think you can just unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, I just wanted to say thank you so much. This is so inspiring. Thank you very much, Kat, Macklyn, Amanda, and Heather. This is amazing. Definitely going to continue following your businesses, and thank you for those wonderful, inspiring quotes and mindful mindset, business, entrepreneur mindset. Thank you.
Thank you, Suhei, for sharing.
I noticed in the chat that Mr. Kennedy mentioned that he wanted to watch this again with his family. And that just does my heart so good to know that what the panelists here said will literally be seen again, for him and his family to watch. That's amazing. Also, I believe, let's see, yes, Mr. Dwayne said, asked what questions or training platforms, if any, is there on a state level that better equips minority businesses to pass on the property financial assets to our kids that allows them to be entrepreneurs in the next 10 years? Heather, Amanda, would you all like to answer that? Is that something, should we?
What I'd like to do, I don't have an answer right offhand. I know that there are. So I believe we have email addresses of the attendees, and we can take a look and just send exact information to you so that you can see what's available, whether it's blog posts or other training that's available on this topic. So Joanne, if you don't mind, and give us until the morning, we'll get that information to you for sure. It's a great question and great topic that needs to be addressed. And I know we have some resources and can probably do a much better job.
Thank you guys so much. I've been listening to you while walking on the street in the Caribbean. So
awesome.
Yeah. I'm a minority business owner. My partner is actually in Roanoke while I work remotely from here. And I just like to say that it's really refreshing to have like-minded individuals share their experience on what their challenges and their triumphs have been in embarking on a new journey for themselves and their family's future. So just want to encourage everyone to, continue sharing, and let's start building a stronger community for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. And thank you for sharing about the speakers and what they shared as well. So thank you. It sounds like you have a really great remote job. So I'm a little bit jealous.
No, it's not all coconut trees and sea and sand. I'm next to the ocean right now, but it's a challenge to actually be co-managing the business from here. But it's really, with the use of technology, if I'm doing it from here, which is 3,000 miles away, I think it's a testament to what can be achieved if you have just the right type of support and put things in place for yourself. You can do so much more, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And the great resources, good support system. I think somebody talked about having a village earlier. So I just wanted to let you all know how inspired I'm leaving with this conversation. And so thank you all. Thank you, Connie, Araceli, Denise, Antonio, and Jonathan, for spending time with us today. If you all would love to reach out to them, I'm sure they're on social media. They'll share their links on the chat as well, so that we can go and support them, continue to support and their businesses and them personally. So if you have any questions for them, they'll share their contact information in the chat as well. And I think we'll do a follow-up email from here. For myself, I want to just say thanks again. I love hearing about it. I'm a mom myself. My boys are 9 and 10 years old, almost 10 and 11, and I have businesses. So for me to kind of have this village, have the support system, it continues to empower me and make me feel just like there's hope out there, right? Like sometimes that's all we kind of need to kind of get us through the day or even through the next few months of saying, yeah, there's other people like us or like-minded and go-getters. So I'm leaving inspired. I hope you all are. And thank you so much for letting me host this show today. And thanks Amanda and Heather for helping as well, and Macklyn for co-hosting. Macklyn, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, just quickly. Again, thank you all. The same thing that Kat said, I ditto every single thing. And also just how cool it is to see the diversity in our panel, right? Not just diversity by nationality or ethnic background, but also financial, like, where people came from. I'm honestly hearing your story, Denise, just for example, about you all literally living in a basement, and then what you're doing now and where you are now, an example you said. I think those things are worth their weight in gold. And then just hearing, from parents and everything, just like the diversity is it's just such a diverse panel in many, many different facets, and yet similar goals, similar mindsets, similar, desires and passions for your community, for your children, and ultimately for your world. So I also left inspired. I have no children. Yet. Well, we will see one year maybe. But at this time I don't, and yet I'm still leaving thinking I'm a minority business owner myself outside of just working with the SBDC, and this inspires me to keep going. So thank you so much. And again, hats off to Kat as well, Amanda and Heather. Thank you so much.
If you all want to reach out to us, if you have a business, if you want to connect with us in any way, have questions about a business, thinking about starting a business, exiting, growing, whatever it is that you are, we can help you out in that. It's all free advice, it's all free counseling, and it's confidential. So you see on here, the email address, it's hello@roanokesmallbusiness.org, or the phone number's on there. So feel free to reach out to us. You can probably find us on any social media platform, including TikTok. So just reach out to us if you have any questions. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday. I was making sure I knew what day it was. Wednesday with us. And adios. See you later, guys. Thank you.